Snow fell in quiet sheets across the empty parking lot as a tired single father stood beside his old truck, keys cold in his hand, the weight of another long day pressing into his shoulders. That was when he noticed her, thin coat, trembling fingers, eyes carrying a fear too heavy for someone so young, standing a few steps away as if the night itself had pushed her toward him. The question that rose between them did not come with sound, yet it struck like a bell in his chest, sharp and unforgettable, because some questions do not need words to be heard. They arrive with the force of memory, of loss, of promises once made and broken. Before the story unfolds any further, pause for a moment. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and quiet acts that change lives, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel Ripple of Kindness. Your support keeps these stories alive. The man had not planned on stopping. He was late, exhausted, and already calculating how to stretch a small dinner into leftovers for tomorrow. His life had narrowed to routines built from necessity: work, childcare, sleep, repeat. Since his wife had passed, the world felt louder and emptier at the same time, and every choice felt like a risk he could not afford. Yet the girl's presence slowed him, anchored him to the cold ground. She looked no older than her late teens, hair pulled back in a way that suggested she had learned to make herself smaller, eyes darting as if expecting to be chased away. The snow did not touch her fear, it only made it more visible. He had learned to recognize that look. He had worn it himself years ago when life had knocked him flat and kept walking. He remembered the shelters that were full, the doors that closed early, the nights spent pretending not to be hungry so shame would not swallow him whole. He remembered how one small kindness had once kept him alive long enough to try again. Standing there, breath fogging in the air, he felt the past and present collide, and for a moment he could not tell which hurt more. The girl's story came to him not through words, but through the way she stood, through the way she held herself as if bracing for refusal. She had nowhere safe to go tonight. Whatever family she had was either far away or no longer a refuge. She had learned to ask carefully, to expect the worst while hoping for the impossible. The parking lot lights flickered, cars idled and left, and time pressed forward without mercy. The man knew the risks. He knew the rules people recited to protect themselves. He knew how the world judged choices made in compassion when outcomes were uncertain. He also knew his own home. It was small, cluttered with toys and bills, warmed by a heater that groaned but worked. It was not perfect, but it was safe. His daughter would be asleep by now, her nightlight casting a soft glow against the wall, her stuffed bear tucked beneath her arm. She had asked him that morning if kindness could ever run out. He had smiled then, unsure of the answer, unaware that the question would soon return, heavier and more urgent. As snow thickened, the man weighed fear against faith. He thought of the promise he had made at his wife's bedside, that he would raise their child in a world that made sense, a world where doing the right thing still mattered even when it was hard. He thought of the quiet courage it took to trust, and the louder courage it took to be trusted. The girl shifted her weight, eyes glistening now, not with entitlement, but with the raw vulnerability of someone asking for mercy without expecting it. Change rarely announces itself. It arrives disguised as inconvenience, as risk, as a decision that cannot be undone. The man felt the shape of that decision settle into him, steady and resolute. He imagined the consequences, the conversations, the judgment. He imagined his daughter growing up believing that doors were meant to be opened when someone knocked in the cold. The snow softened the edges of the world, and in that quiet, something inside him became clear. When he made his choice, the air itself seemed to pause. The girl's shoulders sagged, not in defeat but in release, as if a burden she had carried alone finally found a place to rest. Tears came then, unrestrained, not from sadness but from the shock of being seen. The parking lot, the truck, the falling snow, all of it faded behind the simple truth that one person had decided she mattered. For the first time in a long while, she did not feel invisible. The drive was silent, filled with the hum of the engine and the steady rhythm of wipers brushing snow aside. Streetlights passed like soft stars, and the night felt less hostile. The man's home welcomed them with warmth and the familiar smell of detergent and soup. He moved with the careful efficiency of someone who had learned to make space where there was none, setting a bowl on the table, finding a blanket, keeping things simple and dignified. No questions pressed, no explanations demanded. Safety did not require interrogation. In the days that followed, small miracles accumulated. The girl helped with chores, laughed quietly at cartoons, and slept without flinching. The man watched his daughter's world expand as she shared her toys and stories, teaching trust the way children do, without pretense. Hard conversations came, plans were made, and help was found. Nothing was magically fixed, but everything was different. Kindness had created a bridge where there had only been distance, and crossing it changed them all. Near the end of this story, if it has touched your heart, please take a moment to like the video, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to Ripple of Kindness. Your engagement tells us these stories matter and encourages more moments of light in a heavy world. Just before we close, here is a special request. Please comment below with one small act of kindness you believe can change someone's life. Your words might become the courage someone else needs today. The snow eventually melted, as it always does, but the memory of that night did not fade. It lived on in quiet mornings, in laughter over simple meals, in the knowledge that compassion can rewrite endings. Sometimes, the most powerful answer to a desperate question is not found in words at all, but in the willingness to open a door and let love do the rest.